Welcome, friends. This is Archangel. I received a message the other day. Archangel, my friend was found over the weekend with a hole in his head. He had a hard life, and after an abusive mother and a string of bad relationships, he ended it. He was a beautiful person and had a warm heart, which is rare to find nowadays. He deserved to be loved. My friend may have pulled the trigger, but gynocentrism killed him. Please continue your quest to awaken the world to male devaluation. You are doing more for males than you could possibly ever conceive. T.S. Well, T.S., you do me honor with your words. I am simply a warrior trying to right an egregious injustice. I labor to get these messages out to the world, and the snail's pace at which this is occurring is very infuriating because every day countless males are abused, while I struggle ineffectively to get red pills out to the world along with my fellow brother warriors. The loss of your beautiful friend saddens me. I have many seemingly contradictory feelings regarding suicide. On the one hand, I mourn this male. On the other hand, I find solace knowing that his pain and hurt are over. Many people tread a realm of uncertainty over suicide, but make no mistake, I am 1,000,000 megapixels clear about the causal factor behind male suicide. Gynocentrism, in some form or another, severe mental handicap notwithstanding. Males who are abused and tired of the pain, or males who fail to live up to the gynocentric traditionalist standards of protect, provide, labor, and toil. These males are the victims of gynocentrism. So yes, gynocentrism is the executioner of male life, no matter who pulls the trigger. Seriously, look at the differences in suicide stats between the sexes. If it is so great to be a male, and if males have it so easy with privilege existing in a world built by males for male benefit, if females are so abused and oppressed, then why aren't the statistics inverted, where the majority of suicides are females? Why aren't females killing themselves in droves if they are so trodden down? Because they have a secret. They are not downtrodden. They are elevated. Males are abused and then discarded, which is why upwards of 80% of worldwide suicides are male. People will coherently understand the suicide numbers and the male connection when they finally manage to swallow the bitter truth. Males are abused utilities, used and then discarded. Thus, when the pain of the male plight in today's world reaches critical mass, whether from heartache or from failing to live up to gynocentric expectations of being a human wallet, a repair-all handyman, a whipping boy, emotional tampon, and an armor-clad knight or bodyguard to protect females, when males fail to embody these expectations that we demand of all Y chromosomers, then they simply decide to end their torment. We ignore male pain. Then when males implode, we claim surprise. Oh, we had no idea. We didn't know he was hurting. We had no inkling he was suffering. Okay, well, here's a clue. Is he male? Then he is hurting and abused in one way or another. You have no excuse not to know. Yet we ignore males' suffering. We do not want to know that our shovels have feelings and hurt. And when we do have to face the internalized pain of males' tumultuous existence, then we do what we do best and blame the male for his pain. The problem is not gynocentrism. The problem is that he is defective. And we label male defect as depression or any number of mental disorders including addiction. We abuse males. Then we spit on them by blaming their pain on them, implying weakness because they hurt. Your headache is your fault, and how dare you think about taking an aspirin to ease the suffering? What a selfish thought. Hence, when males kill themselves to end pain, then we say that there was something wrong with them. They had a screw loose, rather than face the reality that he was a beautiful person full of life and potential who was abused, marginalized, and disregarded. Absolutely, male devaluation kills males, whether gradually through never-ending stress accumulated over years, even decades, or with a sudden step off the ledge. We are inundated with statistics about female longevity in contrast to males' shorter half-life. And we further impugn males by stating that this is because females must be biologically superior to males. built out of better materials. That's why they live longer. Well, I'll tell you, here and now, the reason males are shorter lived is because they are devalued and used their whole lives. Their life is drained and usurped from them in the form of utility, period. That is why males seemingly have less longevity, because stress kills, and apathetic usury and abuse causes unfathomable amounts of stress, which we then compel males to swallow. So you abuse them, you build pressure with no redress. Yeah, eventually you have a Chernobyl. Try asserting inferior biology with study this or statistic that all you want to explain diminutive male longevity, but you merely point out the physical manifestation of internalized pain and stress. Yeah, duh, eventually devaluation will manifest as heart or cell abnormalities. This is in no way a conclusion of male inferior biology. You merely point out the symptoms of an egregious injustice males must swallow their entire lives when you say that males are prone to heart this or cancer that because apparently they are of inferior design, as is demonstrable by their shorter lifespan. Yeah, well hey, guess what? Females might be dropping like flies if this world was overly androcentric and existed off the toil and sacrifice of female lives for male ease and comfort. In some males' minds, they figure nothing is getting any better. So why wait to endure further pain while wading through physical decline? Let's end the suffering right now. So on the one hand, I do not fault suicide any more than I would fault someone for taking an aspirin. Both are simply methods of pain relief. One is temporary, one is permanent. Many people self-medicate when they have physical pain. Suicide is simply a person self-medicating when they have overwhelming life pain. Suicide to escape retribution for a slight, such as murder, this is something else entirely. Still, I do not blame males for suicide as pain relief. In some aspects, I am jealous that their torment is over while I am stuck here made to wallow in the cesspool of misandristic strife. Their plight is over. They are free. So this brings me to an interesting proposition. If I had foreknowledge of a male's plans for self-termination, would I try and stop them? I think the honest answer is, I would try to understand them. If they are set on doing this, then nothing can stop them, which is why males don't talk. They do. And they do very effectively, whereas females talk and maybe do some cutting, maybe a partial overdose of pills. However, most female attempts are a cry for understanding, for attention and acceptance. Males are doers. We have pain, we want solutions. Honestly, I would earnestly try to understand their reasoning, and if I could help, oh, I would. Otherwise, why should I intervene? Seriously, if someone is in that much pain, why should I strike down their hand just as they raise that Vicodin to their lips while telling them, just hold on, your migraine will get better. It will go away on its own. Don't do it. Don't you take that pain reliever. Likewise, can I really look suicide-minded males in the eyes and say, you suffer because you are used, devalued, and disposed of by a world that cares nothing about you. But hold on, it will get better. It has to, right? Yet, if I cared enough about them to tell them the truth, then I would have to tell them, no, I do not see it getting any better. Gynocentrism is only getting worse. Misandry is only getting worse. Male devaluation is only getting worse. So, should I keep them alive and suffering further? Should I blow fairy dust up their rear ends to keep them feeding the paradigm which causes their suffering? Is it the compassionate course to lie to the suffering and counsel them to hold on, it will get better, especially when you can blatantly observe the cause of male suffering, gynocentrism, as only escalating? Well, my answer is that yes, rejecting the abuse and reclaiming value, worth, and sovereignty is worth holding on for. Moreover, finding a new reason for existence to help and rescue other males is very much a reason to live. When I think of all the potential gynocentric and misandristic warriors we have lost over the years as casualties to pain, it is immensely saddening. However, a male has limits, and when his suffering limits are reached, that's it. He's had enough. His mind is set, and who am I to judge or tell him that he is wrong in the course of action he is considering? I have not existed in his shoes. Yet I have existed in male shoes, and I understand the depth and intensity to which he is made to suffer. This perhaps informs my softened attitude towards those who end their pain, if they feel that is the best option according to their suffering quotient. Now, I will get a lot of criticism for such a stance. Oh, you're weak. You don't care. How could you let someone end themselves? You see, that's the problem. Too much finger-pointing. Too much outside dictation that you must continue living a painful existence because it would be selfish to check out early. People are depending on you. That is exceedingly selfish of you. Curious, you always hear that term selfish in regards to suicide. And since males comprise 80+% of these suicides, hence males are selfish in death just as they are in life. I see. So what is more selfish? Self-administered pain relief or compelling a suffering male to continue suffering so that friends and family can have someone that they send a Christmas card to once in a while or call at their leisure should they need him for something? Are we the captains of our own lives, or do we exist for the comfort and convenience of others so they may interact with us at their convenience? Under this model, who is more selfish? The tenant who checks out of Mortality Motel early, or the other tenants who say he should have stuck around for their sakes, even though they really didn't like him, didn't interact with him that much, and they stole stuff out of his room when he wasn't looking? And yes, if you are male, you exist for the comfort and convenience of the opposing sex. You know, in some traditions and cultures, suicide is an honorable conclusion. However, our current culture has us very much stigmatizing self-termination as selfish, weak, and against God. Why do you think this is? Well, quite simply, we stigmatize, shame, and scare males from self-termination. And why do we dissuade males from this? Quite simply, because we need male utility, and utility cannot be extracted from a dead shovel. That's the bottom line. That's right, we stigmatize suicide because we need males to sustain the world. Labor and resource cannot be extracted from a rotting carcass. If the worker drones off themselves, that leaves more work for the alphas and females. Yes, essentially females will have to labor and sacrifice in the absence of disposable males. This thought alone would make many an entitled princess awaken in the middle of the night screaming in terror. Hence, we abuse males, then shame them for their subsequent pain, and further impugn them for their consideration to end their suffering. Males have no chance. They're damned if they do, damned if they don't. And people marvel over male versus female suicide statistics. Really? So I personally cast no ill thoughts upon those who commit suicide on the one hand. On the other hand, I do take passionate issue with the impetus that led such magnificent beings to this desperative last chance saloon of suffering cessation. Oh, I have severe problems with gynocentrism and male devaluation. I have monumental problems with the pain and mistreatment that males are made to endure because they have a Y chromosome and thus are lowered in value compared to the uterine-equipped populace. I take fervent issue with the system that misuses males minute after minute, hour after hour, day after month after year with voracious malevolence. I take anger-saturated issue with the tumult and pain heaped upon males, not males' ending of this pain. We fail men by abusing them. They do not fail us by permanently ending this abuse. So that's where we are. On the one side of the coin, I find peace knowing that their suffering is over. On the flip side, I am furious at the torment they had to endure. Torment foisted upon them unfairly because they happen to have a certain hated chromosome. Torment they endured for years and years on end before they said, "That's it, I have had enough. I can't take any more." I'm not accusatory of the act, but I damn sure spit contempt upon the abuse that led to their final solution. I do stand in absolute disgust of gynocentrism. Yes, I know these may be unpopular contemplations regarding this subject, but really, it is the pain males have suffered that is the tragedy, not the suicide. Suicide is a very abrupt conclusion to pain. People want to sit on their high horse and judge the self-enders, like Robin Williams. Yeah? Well, where were you with all your righteous judgments and assistance when it could have made a difference? Where were you when they were in the midst of their suffering? You can't swoop in and offer your shoulder after years and years of heartache have taken their toll and the decision has already been made. You can't be high and mighty when you see them drinking more or giving away their things. At this point, it's already too late. Your noble assistance was needed years ago when he was being abused with impunity. Perhaps last-minute counseling will work with females, since they are bluffing anyway. All they ever wanted was attention and understanding. But many times a male makes up his mind, and that's it. So, during the desolate, painful, tormented years when he was suffering, where were all you self-righteous judges then when he needed you? What did you do to help? Oh, but the same culture of exalted judges wants to wag their fingers and tongues in judgment of another's solution to pain, because the hurting male should simply man up and continue to suffer in isolation in order to bolster your beliefs that all is well in this apple pie Chevrolet Americana we have constructed upon the toil, labor, and sacrifice of males. We want males to hide their pain, which further bolsters the consensual paradigm that life is good and flourishing in this utopia of female elevation perched atop male shoulders. And thus we do not want to hear about male pain, because this might deflate our fairy tales that life is rainbows and cotton candy as it should be. Moreover, the suffering need to stick it out, simply to further reinforce societal propaganda that every last human being should endure every last bit of suffering possible to the bitter end, because an all-loving God orders it. Oh, yeah, and it doesn't hurt that we'll get a few more years of utility out of these males and a few more tax dollars to grease gynocentrism with. Then, these males can die when the stress of their abuse manifests as an aneurysm, but not a second before. They need to continue under their yokes until they simply drop dead, at which point we merely kick that disgusting carcass out of the way and get a new ox to put beneath the newly emptied yoke. I rail against the problem, not the act. If males were valued equally and, dare I say, loved and appreciated, then we wouldn't have 90% of the male suicides in the first place. Gee, funny how that works. Well, we didn't know Joe or Bob or insert any anonymous name of any anonymous shovel that you like. We didn't know he was in trouble. Maybe because you didn't want to know he was in crisis. That might require you to help or live with your inaction and your non-assistance to his suffering. We are gynocentric. We cater to female paper cuts, but we do not want to hear the tormented hurt of males. Nobody cares about male welfare. So males who hide their pain and then end it permanently are doing those around them a service by keeping them in the dark so they won't have to be inconvenienced by his pain. It's his pain, and he will take care of it, all alone, as he always has been. People have no excuse. Is he male? Then he suffers. All males suffer in some form or fashion. The fact that people don't know males are hurting or don't want to know is another facet of gynocentrism. Man up, suck it up, swallow the tears. We compel and demand males hide their weakness, their vulnerabilities, and pain. Then we act surprised when this pain yields fruit. We coddle females, and they are more than encouraged to seek sympathetic audience. While conversely, we don't want to know the pain of our disposable Kleenexes. Most have it reconciled in their minds that this is it. There is no afterlife, no consciousness continuation, no personality continuity. Yet we have no proof that there is or is not. If there is, then I find absolute conviction in saying, no, there is no loving creator that would punish suicide. There is no loving creator that would allow such rampant suffering of half his children while the other half fail to learn or grow because they are coddled their entire lives. If the physical body is some grand gift God gives to the soul, then this all-powerful creator could effortlessly create another carbon vehicle, another body, yes? Now consider another point. What if we reincarnate? What if we determine the experiences and lessons we wish to glean from each particular incarnation? Thus, suicide would be like walking out of class before completing it. It is not bad or evil. It simply means that entity will have to come back to the same class again. So I propose it like this. A person would not be punished for suicide any more than a student would banish themselves to hell for eternity for leaving class early. But if this dimension sucks as much as it does, then just get through it so you won't have to come back and take this same crap course in the future. Who wants to come back to being a male on planet Earth when males are hated, used, abused, and then tossed into the ditch on the side of the road? So where have these musings led us? Well, ultimately it comes down to this. No matter your opinion regarding suicide, our abuse of males is the tragedy. We fail males by abusing them. They do not fail us by ending this abuse. Are you against suicide? Do you care? Do you want to help? Then stop devaluing males. If you are unwilling to rebuke gynocentrism, then you have nothing to say about suicide because you are the problem. I mourn fallen brothers, and I labor for the welfare of future brothers. My friends, be an agent of liberation. Stand with me, live free.